Hello, folks. This is Mudassar and Malik with you guys. And the agenda of this meeting is to give you a brief, comprehensive comparison between PMBOK Edition 7 and PMBOK Edition 8. And before we move on, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Mudassar and Malik. I'm certified project manager, PMP trainer, and I have specialization in corrosion control solutions and inspection testing solutions with marine security solutions. I have got plus 20 years of experience in NDT, corrosion engineering, EPC, and marine security. As I said, I'm certified project manager professional. I'm certified by Google, PMI, and I'm also certified by University of California. So let's move ahead with some slides I have prepared for you, just to give you the brief about the comparison between the PMBOK Edition 7 and PMBOK Edition 8. So PMBOK 7 PMI has changed the structure completely. So instead of processes, it focuses on the principles and performance domains. So the main idea is project success depends on outcomes, not on documents or steps. So, for example, if I take the example of marine project, so instead of following strict steps, you can focus on stakeholder communication, risk checks, and delivering the barriers on time. That's an example of a marine security project. But if we take the example of IT project, so rather than creating 10 documents, the team focuses on delivering working software every sprint. So I hope you're getting the examples very clearly. And let's take the example of EPC pipeline project. So you tailor processes depending on client urgency, environmental constraints, and regulatory pressure. So these are the examples which PMI wants you to basically, they have changed overall structure completely. Means instead of focusing on processes, now you focus on the principles and performance domains. Now, moving to the next. Here, let me give you the overview of PMBOK Edition 7. I'm sure you are familiar with this PMBOK Edition 7. I mean, this is a structure basically which has got 8 domains and is principle-based guidance, which is emphasizing on behavior, judgment, and adaptability, focusing on system thinking, emphasizing on outcomes and stakeholder value, rather than steps. Okay, so this is just a rough review of PMBOK edition 7. But uh, let me go through to edition 8 so you have clear comparison here. So here, if you see, now you have 7 domains, right? Plus governance. Okay. The governance has been added, and sustainability is a main principle. It also introduces focus area. Focus areas similar to traditional process phases. So for example, governance approval now is must. You must follow documented processes such as procurement or execution. So everything must be governed. Governed doesn't mean just to overlook or overview or to supervise. It doesn't mean only this. It means everything is documented, every procedure is strictly followed. You must, let's say, let me give you the example. Governance examples are approval. Approvals are must to follow, should be documented. Uh, let's say the purchase order is issued. Give me a second, please. Let me take the call. I'm sorry for there was a slight delay. I got a very urgent call, but it's okay. We can carry on. So we were talking about governance examples. So governance examples include approvals should be very important. Approvals are important. Like without an approval of any document, is not should not be acceptable. It could be for procurement, for execution, for procurement. I mean, if you are issuing any purchase order, purchase order must be approved. Purchase order must be approved not by only by the supervisor. No, it has to go through a procurement process. It should be approved by procurement engineer, procurement manager, procurement, and then it should be reviewed by project manager. Even it should go to the, I mean, accounts manager. It should go through a process. That process includes all the governance. So that means this is just an example. Similarly, if you have a document, if you have a quality plan is prepared by quality engineer. And quality engineer just prepared doesn't mean that it's approved. So it should go through a approval process. It should go to a quality manager, corporate manager. It should go to the project manager for the approval, for final approvals. And of course, before submitting it to the client, like these are the pre-approvals within the organization. And then if you are submitting to the client will review it. And if there's any, you know, to call it proponent, it must be approved by proponent. Overall, I mean, it could be, it's just an exceptional. I'm just giving the examples. So that means the governance in every process, governance in every document, governance in every single process. So now let's move to sustainability. What does sustainability means? Sustainability, let me give you the example. For example, choosing a materials that reduces environmental impact. Okay, let's talk about marine only again. For example, if I'm choosing the material, for building a marine structure, that reduces environmental impact. I mean, if I'm selecting a material, okay, without going through a quality process, without, when I say quality process, means without checking the specifications properly, I'm really creating a problem for me. So what is sustainability here? So sustainability is, if I'm selecting the material, the material should be approved, specifications should be integrated, matching with the requirement, and there should be no impact on environment. Okay, so if mistake has happened, I selected the material without even checking the specifications, getting it without reviewed, without any review from a quality engineer or corrosion engineer or materials engineer. So I'm creating the impact on environment. So choosing the material is sustainability. So another example is value measurement example. Tracking cost saved, okay, downtime reduced, or productivity gained after project delivery. So these are the sustainability examples. So this is a new subject, you can say, or new principle, which has been created by PMI, that project managers should focus on sustainability, governance. Okay. And let's move to the next. PMBOK 7 principles. Okay, let's focus on adaptability. If you know, you might have gone through PMBOK edition 7, which was focusing on value delivery, system thinking, adaptability, and flexible guidance. Okay. But now, if you check PMBOK 8, you will see it focuses on measurable value, governance, sustainability, and accountability. And what are the examples? Measurable value examples are reporting KPIs, improvement after installing. For example, let me give you the example. Let me give you the example of a marine project. I have a project. I'm installing corrosion monitoring probes. So before installation, did I have KPIs, and how how do I monitor the reporting system? So if I have the reporting system, that means I must have implemented KPIs. Okay, so this is very important. And governance in this case here is every decision must be follow a clear approval workflow. Okay, and sustainability here is selecting eco-friendly corrosion materials for long-term benefits. So now you see in every principle, or in every what do you call it, in every in edition 8, the main focus is three things. One is measurable value, another is governance, third is sustainability, and fourth is stronger emphasis on accountability. Okay. So here is implications of, sorry, it's I think we should skip actually edition 7 principles because it's not really required unless you need it. However, we will again talk about edition 8 principles in details. How measurable value, governance, and sustainability raise project accountability. So here, as we discussed, measurable value delivery focuses on quantifiable outcomes and metrics to prove project benefits. So measurable outcome example include success criteria in the project charter, 20% reduction in downtime. Okay, so when you are creating a project charter, that means you are still on initial phase of the project. You didn't even start anything. You should be able to quantify the outcomes. Let's say after the delivery, after you sign the contract, project has been awarded to you. Now, project means you've been assigned as a project manager, where you will be able to create a project charter, which is obviously it's a kind of authorization for the project manager to lead the project. So when you create a project charter, your outcomes should be quantifiable. Okay, which includes criteria in project. The criteria. Let us say the downtime by 20%, or the cost saving it will be like this much, or whatever. It has to be mentioned. Everything has to be mentioned in the charter, like your objectives, but it's all high level or high definition level. Then governance, as we discussed, governance ensures every change request is documented and approved. This we discussed already. And sustainability is, like select supplier who comply with environmental standards. This is sustainability. Moving to the next. So we were talking about implications. Yes, I have the slide here. Implication slide is, so PM must know he must think, as a project manager, you must think in terms of value, governance, metrics, and accountability. It's very important. You need to change your thinking from edition 7 to edition 8. Edition 8 is strictly focusing on governance, governance, metrics, and accountability. So metrics, measurable outcome examples, as we discussed, criteria in the project charter, such as 20% reduction in downtime, and example governance, ensure every change request is documented and approved. Sustainability examples are select supplier who comply with environmental standards. Okay. If you have any question, please let me know. Now we have domain comparison overview here. So 7th edition had 8 domains, and 8th edition reduced to 7, but added governance as a separate domain. So governance, new gates for scope approval. Domain reduction examples, streamlining helps PMPs focus on what matters. Strategic alignment examples ensure project outputs contributes to company goals. Okay, here it's not just you are, usually you used to focus on the outcome of the project. Like it, it used to be, okay, your company won the project. It has been executed successfully and delivered successfully, handed over successfully. But now here the question is, what value your company got out of this project? We are not talking about financially here. We are talking about value. So this value, how much it has contributed to your company in terms of goals. That's what it means, strategic alignment. So it's very important in edition 7, in edition 8. Governance extracted as a separate domain, reflected increased focus on organizational oversight, align domains with evolving governance. So edition 8. Governance evaluated. Governance, I think this is all about governance only in this series. So governance is now dedicated domain, actually. This means oversight, compliance, and decision making are core to project. For example, mandatory approvals. For example, let's talk about marine security or any project. Let's talk about any construction project. So mandatory approvals opens before procurement. And let's say you have a purchase order, okay? You must approve your purchase order before even it's been created. So that means before purchase order, you should create a request, right? A request should go for a review, and review should be done by a senior manager, probably by your project manager. And then once he approves the request, then it should move to the procurement process. Similarly, in the risk management, example of governance is, ensure stakeholders understand risk decisions. So here, it's not just preparing a risk management plan. it is more than that. It is something you need to make sure all the stakeholders are aware about the risk. Although it's known, unknown, we don't know that. But here, as a governance, part of governance, they must know the risks are there. And I'm sure you know who are the stakeholders. So a stakeholder is someone who is getting affected by the project, either indirectly or directly. Is a stakeholder. Compliance examples are ensuring project steps align with legal or regulatory requirements. And that means if you have a construction project, you're building any bridge, and in order to start any construction, you must get approval from Ministry of Transportation, although you have been awarded a contract. But there are some other external stakeholders, external parties whom should you get approved. Let us say there is Ministry of Home Ministry or some other ministry who's taking care of the bridge in terms of governing the bridge. But Ministry of Transport, they issue the purchase order, but still there is someone you should take the approval from. So you need to ensure that your legal or regulatory requirements are complied with government rule, with the legally complied. So let's move to the next. Analysis of domain change. So domain count reduced to reflect tight scope and focus. Few domain is equal to tighter focus. Governance added to improve accountability. As we said, governance has been added to improve the accountability. So let me give you some examples. Decisions framework examples or clear decision-making structure helps avoid delays. So the organization chart must be clear. It should be very clear when making any decision. And that's why the governance means it should be supervised by the team, by your top management. Whatever decision has to be taken, it should be taken clearly without any miscommunication process. That's why they are saying the decision framework. That means PMs gain clear decision frameworks for integrating governance into processes. Outcome, stronger oversight plus accountability. Alignment examples are project activities now align more naturally with strategy. Accountability examples are more visibility into who approved what and why. It's very important. Process groups versus focus areas. Handbook 7 removed process groups. Handbook 8 reintroduced them as a focus areas, initiating, closing. So it's very important. Initiating examples, you must define purpose plus stakeholders before planning you start. So every stakeholders, I mean, you should know why I have a stakeholder. What is his purpose? What is the job? Let us say job description. For example, you have a stakeholder who is a subcontractor who is supposed to supply materials to you. So you should have a stakeholder registry where you will Mention his roles and responsibilities, his scope of work, maybe his activities. Okay, so this should be done from beginning actually, even before you start the project as per PMBOK edition 8. So executing examples, for example, coordinating marine barrier project, installation with multiple vendors. And this is what I was talking about. So monitoring examples are tracking KPIs against planned versus planned values. So give me a second, please. There's some call.